arrived at your destination.
Welcome back to Destination Pro Wrestling. My name is Tony. You guys can follow me on Twitter at Tango with Ango. And I want to say thank you for stopping by because we have some big news. Lots of talk about Dean Ambrose lately, but there's also another name that may have signed to AEW, which I think could be shocking for a lot of people, but I think it is a very big move for AEW. It's going to be a very interesting move for AEW. So with that being said, make sure you guys sit back, relax, and enjoy today's video. And as always, make sure you guys click the link in the description to learn on how to become a DPW champion. That's right, guys. We launched a rewards program for the YouTube channel, $4.99 a month, no contract, no commitment, nothing like that. Support the channel, you get some rewards for it. And with that being said, guys, let's just jump right into it. So by now, I'm sure you guys have seen the Dean Ambrose trailer. Yeah, that's right. Everybody is expecting Dean Ambrose to go to AEW now that he's done with WWE. We've actually talked about this on the channel before, and it sounded very promising, but there actually has been some new reports that have come out lately stating that Dean Ambrose is actually not going to AEW, and instead he will be taking about a 6 to 7 month break from WWE to pursue the indie scene and build up his Jon Moxley character. Now, what's really interesting about this report is that he would eventually go back to WWE as Jon Moxley, which is why WWE touted the last ever Shield reunion. So obviously if Jon Moxley went into WWE, it would be a very, very interesting scenario because obviously formerly Dean Ambrose, how would they kind of storyline that, with guys like Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins as part of the show. Now, with that being said, the most interesting part about this news is that AEW is potentially signing, or may have already signed, according to reports, a superstar in the indie scene, somebody that WWE has had their eyes on as well. So we'll kind of jump into that in a minute. But I want to talk about this Dean Ambrose situation because, one, this video was very, very high grade, very high quality. And I think a lot of people are underestimating the ability that WWE has, especially at times like this. Now, we talked about this before. It just sounded like it was no way possible that WWE would allow a guy like Dean Ambrose to leave their show and sign to one of their competitors. And of course, with these reports, it would actually make sense if he did go back to WWE. Now, the reason why I mention this is because if you saw the video, there was a lot of teases. A lot of people had mentioned the logo for the Viper Room, which obviously had the 25, the 2 and 5 dice being rolled into the actual video itself. It's a little graphic. People thought that was a sign for May 25th. But ultimately, this video had such high quality production. And I'm not going to say that Dean Ambrose, obviously he made money in WWE, so I'm not going to say that he couldn't afford a very high quality video like this. But this looks like a video that was produced by somebody who does movies or live TV, someone of WWE's caliber, and that is why this was such a key video for his return to the indie scene. Now, as I said, according to reports, it sounds like WWE is interested in bringing him back with a little bit more creative control. And obviously with the Jon Moxley character itself, I don't know how WWE could pull this off. I'll be honest. I always felt like the Dean Ambrose character was a way lesser version of Jon Moxley. So the fact that they'd be willing to bring Jon Moxley into WWE, I don't understand how it's going to fit storylines. But of course, when I saw these reports, when I saw people talking about this, and I saw this become part of a discussion on social media, I had to talk to you guys about it because in one way it doesn't make sense, but in one way it does make sense, especially because WWE is truly having some issues right now with ratings. And that kind of brings up the conversation about ratings. Should people be worried? Now, WWE is an unpredictable company. So to me, I'm not necessarily shocked if AEW and WWE, if all this hype around Dean Ambrose or Jon Moxley, like with all this buildup, I think WWE might try to capitalize on it. And I think, it's a really good way. Obviously, as you guys know, with people talking about Dean Ambrose going to AEW, it's a good way for WWE to build the attention from the audience, right? Like, they're going to gain people talking about WWE because of Dean Ambrose, and obviously the video was the first part of that. So let's just say, a little hypothetical, let's say WWE does in fact bring Dean Ambrose back as Jon Moxley. Well, everybody's going to know that he was associated with possibly signing to AEW, which ultimately it makes WWE look better if he does go back there. Now, with that, I don't know if I trust WWE with the Jon Moxley character the way it's designed to be, which is why I think Dean Ambrose as Jon Moxley on the independent scene is where the most stock is at. I think that's where it makes the most sense. And I have to be honest with you guys, I think that he shouldn't go back to WWE with his character because, again, we kind of saw what they did with the Dean Ambrose character, which was already less Jon Moxley. So, it is being reported, though, that we're not going to see him at AEW. It is being reported that we will see him back in WWE. How they build this up, how they fit it into a storyline is the question mark. Now, one thing that I want to mention was a guy on the independent scene who has made some big waves recently. And he's also teased that he will be finishing up his indie appearances because he signed a contract somewhere. Now, a lot of people actually alluded to WWE being the one to sign him. There was reports that WWE had signed this individual so that way he could have some TV time on NXT and then would eventually go down to the WWE Performance Center. But reports have also come out that this individual actually is no longer choosing that option, and instead he is signing to AEW, which I think makes more sense. I think he fits this product more, even though we haven't seen AEW. Everything that we've heard about AEW, he does fit this a little bit more. Guys, the individual that we're talking about is Joey Ryan, and I think this is a really, really interesting move, but it's a good move for AEW because Joey Ryan has been making waves in the independent scene, and a lot of people kind of underestimate his ability in the ring and on the mic because of some of the things that he's done recently on the independent scene. But that is the reason why I think this is actually such a key signing for AEW and a big loss for WWE. Now, it's no secret that WWE wants to sign talent just so that way AEW can't get them. And I think this is actually a big turnoff for a lot of independent talent who aren't signed to either company. So therefore, it does make a lot of sense that he wouldn't be going to WWE, especially in the position of being a coach. I could see him very well going to AEW, giving it a chance. You know, even if it's a 2-3 year contract, if it doesn't work out, maybe he has that opportunity to go to WWE after. I don't necessarily know. But Joey Ryan is a big name in the independent scene. And, you know, we may not agree with everything that he does. Obviously, there's a lot of things that we consider extra, but it makes sense for companies to want this guy because, again, his name has value on the market. Now, a guy like Joey Ryan, for me, he's not a main roster guy that's going to get pushed on WWE. In fact, I can't even see NXT doing too much with him. So if I'm Joey Ryan, I absolutely don't go to NXT. I go to AEW, get my TV time, you know, have a little bit more freedom, have a little bit more creative control, work with the guys who really understand independent wrestling and who will incorporate that. Now, if Tony Khan does turn AEW into a WWE 2.0, then maybe Joey Ryan's not going to fit in too well there, but obviously, it's safe to say, based on everything we know about AEW so far, being a true alternative, it's a move that makes sense for AEW, but it also makes sense for Joey Ryan. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, I was really shocked to hear this because there was a lot of reports that Joey Ryan was going to WWE. And just like the Dean Ambrose situation, a lot of people are starting to now talk about WWE and AEW in the same sentence because there's a lot of guys who are starting the conversation saying, look, you know, there's a chance I could be anywhere. And these guys are teasing their indie appearances and stuff like that. So now that they're giving people an opportunity to say, listen, like, we could show up anywhere. You just got to keep watching to find out. It's going to have people watching both products. And we kind of talked about the ratings for WWE being so low. Joey Ryan's not going to go into WWE and improve their ratings. So ultimately, WWE shouldn't be wasting their money on this guy. And I just firmly believe that because WWE doesn't need more talent. What they need to do is utilize their talent and get them to the places where people want to start watching. Because, again, you're pulling in some of your worst ratings in a very, 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 very long time. And I love WWE, and I love AEW, and I love Impact, and I love wrestling in general. but ultimately you have to make what you have work. And if you can't do that, it becomes an issue. A lot of people start tuning away. They start, falling out of love with wrestling. And then it just becomes a product that's on TV that just fills up 2 or 3 hours. And especially with SmackDown Live being rumored for 3 hours long, obviously going to Fox, Jon Moxley going to WWE makes sense. Joey Ryan going to WWE does not. So ultimately, it's a very interesting news day, but it's a very big news day because a lot of people did not see this stuff coming. So I want to know what you guys think in the comment section down below here on Destination Pro Wrestling. $4.99 a month, guys. Don't forget. Make sure you guys check us out, subscribe. And by the way, we're working on a renovated website where you guys can get all your daily pro wrestling news. So with that being said, guys, my name is Tony from Destination Pro Wrestling, and I'll see you next time.
You have arrived at your destination.